Hello, listener. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for tuning in. Today's video includes a story written by aspiring author Tyler Conlin. He's got a few pages I've linked in the description I would like for you to check out, including an Amazon link for his short story, his YouTube channel, and Spotify page. It would mean a lot to the both of us if you could show some support. Thank you. Now, without further delay, enjoy the video. This all started about 16 years ago when Rachel left me. Not that I blame her. I was a mess back then. Hell, I'm a mess right now, just a different kind of mess. We'd been together for 4 years, and I thought we were going to get married. I had the ring and everything. But apparently my opinions on taking things slow and her opinions on building a future together were two very different things. After she moved out, I pretty much became a hermit. I work as a freelance developer, mostly building AI algorithms for tech companies, so I was already working from home most days. It was easy to just stop leaving. I'd order groceries online, get everything delivered, and spend my days coding and my nights drinking cheap beer while scrolling through Netflix. The only place I'd go was Murphy's, this little dive bar around the corner from my apartment. Even then, it was just to sit alone, nurse a couple of Budweisers, and pretend I was being social. Jimmy knew my order and knew not to bother me with small talk. It was perfect. My mom would call every few days, asking when she could come visit or when I was coming home for dinner. My friends would text about hanging out, grabbing drinks, going to concerts. I ignored most of it. It was easier to just stay in my bubble and feel sorry for myself. Rachel had moved on. I could see her Instagram posts of her new life, new boyfriend, new everything. Meanwhile, I was wearing the same sweatpants 3 days straight and eating cereal for dinner. That's when he showed up. It was a Tuesday in February, around 2 p.m. I remember because I was in the middle of debugging some neural network code when the doorbell rang. I almost didn't answer it. I wasn't expecting any deliveries, and I definitely wasn't in the mood for Jehovah's Witnesses or solar panel salesmen. But something made me get up and look through the people. He was tall, maybe in his 50s, wearing an expensive-looking gray suit that probably cost more than my rent. Perfectly groomed silver hair. Kind of confident smile that made you trust him immediately. He looked like he belonged in a boardroom, not standing outside my shitty apartment building. I opened the door, probably looking like I've been living in a cave for months, which wasn't far from the truth.
Mr. Walker?
His voice was smooth, professional. Yeah, that's me. Can I help you?
I certainly hope so. My name is Mr. Blackwood, and I have a proposition that might interest you.
He glanced past me into my apartment, taking in the empty beer bottles, the clothes draped over furniture, the general disaster that was my life.
May I come in?
Everything in my brain was screaming that this was wrong, but there was something about his presence that made me step aside and let him in. He sat down on my couch like he owned the place, completely unfazed by the mess.
Mr. Walker, I'll get straight to the point. I represent certain interested parties who are conducting a social experiment. We're looking for individuals who might be willing to participate in an extended isolation study.
Isolation study?
Quite simple, really. You would agree to remain inside your residence for exactly 1 year. No leaving, not even to step outside for fresh air. No exceptions whatsoever. In exchange, you will receive $1 million upon successful completion.
I stared at him for a long moment, waiting for the punchline. You're serious?
Completely. You can continue working, use the internet, order anything you need for delivery. The only requirement is that you cannot physically leave this apartment for 365 consecutive days.
$1 million. I made decent money coding, but $1 million would change everything. I could pay off my student loans, my credit cards, maybe even buy a house. And honestly, the way I'd been living for the past few months, I was basically already doing it for free. What's the catch? Mr. Blackwood smiled.
No catch. Simply a year of your life in exchange for financial freedom. We'll provide you with a direct deposit of $50,000 up front to cover any expenses, and the remaining $950,000 upon completion.
He pulled out a contract from his briefcase. It was surprisingly short. Just 2 pages of legal language that basically said I couldn't leave my apartment for a year, and if I did, I'd forfeit the money and have to pay back the advance. I should have asked more questions. I should have wondered who these interested parties were, or why they'd pay someone $1 million to stay home. But I was depressed, broke, and honestly, the idea of having an excuse to avoid the world for a while sounded perfect. I signed the contract. To be honest, the first few months were actually amazing. The $50,000 hit my account before I had even woken up the next day. And suddenly I could afford good food, better beer, and all the video games and streaming services I wanted. I threw myself into work with a new enthusiasm, taking on bigger projects and making more money than I'd ever made before. My friends thought I was crazy when I told them about the deal, but most of them were also kind of jealous. Dude, you're getting paid $1 million to do what you're already doing, my buddy Marcus said during one of our video calls. That's the easiest money ever. Even my mom was supportive, though she worried about my mental health. Just promise me you'll call if you need anything, honey, and maybe try to eat some vegetables once in a while. I started talking to myself around month 4, but it didn't feel weird. Just little comments while I was coding, or narrating what I was doing while cooking. Alright, let's see if this algorithm actually works this time. Normal stuff. Everyone talks to themselves sometimes, right? The hardest part was the loneliness that would hit at random moments. I'd be having a great day, crushing some coding project, and then I'd see a photo on social media of my friends hanging out without me, and it would feel like a punch to the gut. But I had video calls, texting, social media, and I wasn't completely cut off from the world. When the year was up, Mr. Blackwood returned exactly as promised. He handed me a check for $950,000 with that same professional smile.
Congratulations, Mr. Walker. I trust the experience wasn't too difficult.
Actually, it was easier than I expected.
Excellent. In that case, I have another proposition for you.
My heart started racing. I'd been dreading this moment ending, going back to the real world, figuring out what to do with my life.
5 more years, Mr. Walker. Same rules, same apartment. In exchange, $10 million.
$10 million. That was retire early, never work again money. That was buy a house and cash, travel the world money. And honestly, I'd gotten pretty comfortable with my setup. 5 years would fly by. I signed the second contract without hesitation. The first year of the 5-year deal went smoothly. I was making great money with my coding work. I'd settled into a routine, and I was actually happier than I'd been since Rachel left. I'd lost some weight, started working out in my apartment, even tried meditation. My friends joked that isolation was the best thing that ever happened to me. But then things started going wrong. It was during year 2 that Rachel called. I saw her name on my phone and almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me.
Hey, David.
Her voice was exactly the same, and it hit me like a freight train. Rachel, hi. I wasn't expecting to hear from you.
I know this is random, but I've been thinking about you lately. About us. I was wondering if maybe we could get lunch sometime. Just to talk, you know? We both made some mistakes.
My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. This was what I'd been hoping for, dreaming about, for years. She wanted to try again, but I can't.
You can't? Are you seeing someone?
No, it's not that. I literally can't leave my apartment right now. It's complicated. There was a long silence.
David, what the hell are you talking about? Are you under house arrest or something?
I tried to explain about the deal, the money, how I had only 3 more years left. But even as I said it, I could hear how insane it sounded. A few deafeningly quiet moments passed before she finally responded.
You're still exactly the same, aren't you? Choosing money over us? Over the chance to fix what we had?
It's not that simple, Rachel. It's $10 million. Think about what we could do with that kind of money. We could...
I can't believe you right now. I thought maybe you'd changed, but you're still just a weak little man-child who refuses to take responsibility for anything.
She hung up. I called back 17 times. She never answered. That night, I sat in my apartment and cried for the first time since she'd left. But I didn't break the contract. 3 more years, I told myself. 3 more years and I'd have enough money to win her back, to prove that I could provide for her, for us. In year 3, my mom called with news that made all of my veins freeze.
Honey, I need to tell you something. I went to the doctor's last week for my annual checkup, and they found a lump in my breast. They're doing more tests, but they think it might...
Her voice faded into an orchestra of muffled chaos as her words sunk in. My world stopped. My mom was only 58. She was supposed to have decades left. She was supposed to meet my future kids, see me get married, grow old gracefully.
Do you think that nice gentleman would understand and let you come home for a while, sweetie?
Her voice cracked. I paused for a moment. My breath became short as I weighed the options. $10 million is so much to abandon, especially if the tests were to come back benign. But it's my mom. I could feel the tears welling up in my cheeks, moving toward my eyes. I must have been silent for a little too long as I decided, because she felt the need to interject.
No, it's fine. Forget I asked at all. I'm sorry, honey. I shouldn't have put you through that kind of stress. You've been working really hard, and who knows? With that kind of money, you'd be able to afford any treatment, even from God himself.
She tried to laugh. She made me promise not to break the contract. Against every instinct in my body, I stayed in my apartment. The cancer was aggressive, stage 3 by the time they caught it. I watched my mom fight through video calls, seeing her get thinner and weaker with each round of chemo. I sent her money for the best treatments, the most expensive doctors, but it wasn't enough. My friends stopped calling as much. Marcus got married in year 4. I watched the wedding through a live stream he set up for me.
It's not the same without you here, man,
he said during our call afterwards.
Sarah asks about you all the time. She thinks you've lost your mind.
Maybe I had. I was talking to myself constantly now, having full conversations with imaginary people. I'd argue with my reflection in the bathroom mirror. I'd narrate my entire day out loud just to hear a human voice, even if it was my own. Okay, David, time to make some coffee. Ethiopian beans today, because we're feeling fancy. Aren't we feeling fancy? Yes, we are definitely feeling fancy. I started leaving the TV on 24/7 just to have background noise, background voices. I knew every episode of The Office by heart. I could recite entire scenes from Friends. These fictional people became more real to me than my actual friends and family. My mom died on a Tuesday in February, year 5, day 364, one day before my contract was up. I got the call from my Aunt Linda at 6:47 a.m.
She fought so hard, David. Right up until the end. She kept talking about how proud she was of you. How excited she was to see you when you were finished with your project.
I hung up the phone and screamed until my throat was raw. I put my fist through the bathroom mirror. I threw my laptop across the room and watched it shatter against the wall. But I didn't leave. I couldn't leave. Not with one day left. Not when I was so close. Mr. Blackwood showed up exactly 24 hours later at 6:47 a.m. He handed me a check for $10 million.
My condolences on your recent loss, Mr. Walker.
Of course he knew. I was about to tell him to go fuck himself when he smiled and continued.
I have one final proposition for you. 10 more years. Same arrangement, but this time, we'll make it worth your while. $100 million.
$100 million. Now that was some real fuck you money. Enough money to buy anything, go anywhere, do whatever I wanted. Enough money to make sure my mom's death wasn't for nothing. Enough money to win Rachel back, to show her what I'd accomplished. Why? I asked. Why me? Why any of this?
Because you're very, very good at it, Mr. Walker. Most people break by year 2. You've made it 5 years, and you're still functional.
I looked around my apartment, my self-prescribed tomb, my prison, my home. 10 years?
10 years.
I signed the 3rd contract. The next decade was a blur of darkness. I stopped working. What was the point? With the upfront deposits and previous checks, I had enough money to last multiple lifetimes. I stopped showering regularly, stopped cleaning, stopped caring about anything. I'd sleep for 16 hours a day and spend the other 8 staring at screens, watching other people live their lives. Rachel got married. I saw the photos on Facebook before I finally deleted all my social media accounts. She looked so happy, radiant. Everything I could have given her if I hadn't been so fucking greedy. Marcus and Sarah had 3 kids. I watched them grow up through Christmas cards and sporadic texts that eventually stopped coming altogether. They stopped asking when I'd be done with my project. They stopped asking about me at all. I started seeing things that weren't there. Shadows moving in my peripheral vision. Voices calling my name from the hallway outside my door. Sometimes I'd spend hours talking with my mom on the phone before realizing how long she had been dead. The apartment started falling apart around me. I'd patched things just enough to keep them functional, but I stopped caring about making the place livable. The walls were stained, the carpet was torn, everything smelled like despair and stale air. By year 8, I was barely human anymore. I'd go days without speaking out loud, weeks without looking in a mirror. I forgot what my own voice sounded like. I forgot what it felt like to touch another person, to breathe fresh air, to feel sunlight on my skin. When Mr. Blackwood finally returned, he walked through my front door as if he had already had the key. He looked the same as the day I met him. I was sitting in the same spot I had been for the past 3 days, staring at a TV that had been broken for months, reciting lines from How I Met Your Mother.
Congratulations, Mr. Walker.
He handed me a check. $100 million.
You did it.
I took the check with shaking hands. My fingernails were long and yellow. I probably smelled like death. So, I said, my voice hoarse from disuse. What's next? $1 billion for 20 years? There was a tone in my voice that hinted at sarcasm, but part of me truly wanted an excuse to just lie here for a little longer. Mr. Blackwood laughed, a genuine sound of amusement.
Oh no, Mr. Walker. You've earned this. You've given us everything we've needed. You're free to go.
Free to go. 16 years later, I was free to go. I walked outside for the first time in over a decade and immediately collapsed. The sunlight was too bright, the air was too fresh, the sounds of traffic and people too overwhelming. I sat on the sidewalk and vomited until there was nothing left before passing out. I came to in a pool of my own waste, barely coherent but aware enough to get my bearings. After all this time inside, I wasn't sure where to go. The streets looked unfamiliar after years of construction and local tax dollars. But there was one place I was sure would still be open. I went to Murphy's. Jimmy wasn't there anymore. He'd retired years ago. The new bartender didn't know my order, didn't know to leave me alone. Everything was different. I sat there with my beer, surrounded by people half my age. Every time I tried to join in, the words feel foreign in my mouth, desperate for any kind of connection. I offer to buy drinks for strangers, thinking maybe my newfound wealth can at least purchase some temporary companionship. But each time I would try to pay for someone else, my card would be declined. Within minutes, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number.
That money is for you, Mr. Walker.